evening and welcome to episode 2 of Hallmark Holiday Havoc, our weekly podcast here on twitch.tv/shadow_temple, where Marissa and I here talk about our favorite Hallmark movies, right?
What?
Favorites. Our absolute favorites. We did the first 3 favorites, and now we're doing the second 3 favorites, right?
I think we've misunderstood.
Wait, what? What do you mean? What do you mean that this trilogy is precisely what we wanted to like lift ourselves up in this the holiday season, right? 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 Anyway, I'm Shadow Temple.
I'm Marissa.
So last week we started this thing off again. The idea is that we're trying to group all these Hallmark original movies. For those unaware, Hallmark is a card company that decided to expand into media, and
boy, did they expand.
Oh, did they expand. In the US, they have themselves 2, maybe more, actually probably more channels than 2 these days, whose explicit purpose is essentially to show original programming, whether it be various like TV shows with mysteries involved, or, and especially about this season, Christmas movies.
Yep.
They have over 200 Christmas films that they have made over the past 20 years. And we are going to pick them apart piece by piece until none remain, and we are crowned kings of Hallmark.
Wait, I don't think that's it either.
What? What do you mean?
We're just 2 idiots that are like, you know,
the end.
making fun.
The end. We're just 2
That's
idiots.
it.
That's the beginning and the end of this conversation. Anyway, yeah, so tonight we're going to be talking about 3 movies in particular. This will be on YouTube later on, folks, if you're watching this live right now. So say hi to YouTube out there in the chat there. Yeah, so tonight we're going to be talking about 3 movies in particular. They are Finding Father Christmas, Engaging Father Christmas, and Marrying Father Christmas.
We could not resist the trilogy.
We had to jump into a trilogy, which, by the way, actually, before we start this, I just want to mention as a jump off, if you're watching these sequentially because you're just a Hallmark Holiday Havoc fiend, the movie A Baby for Christmas that we watched last week
has a sequel.
We found out has a sequel where the baby's already born, and it's a year after the fact, and all the characters come back. So we have to watch that later on. I don't know when we're going to watch that, but I just wanted to mention that before we moved on. I don't know how frequent this is. We haven't done our due diligence, I don't think, to determine how many sequels and threequels there are of just regular movies that they come up with.
You can't blame us because all of the movie promo images look exactly the same.
They look exactly the same.
It's like a couple and then the title, but like...
Well, let me just show you real quick the title screens for each of these, by the way, real quick. You ready? This is Finding Father Christmas. Couple. Well, she was wearing red. He's wearing green. Holiday stuff behind them. Here's Engaging Father Christmas. He's wearing green. She's wearing red. Holiday stuff behind them. And here's Marrying Father Christmas. She's wearing green, she's wearing red, and they've got Christmas stuff in front of them this time.
I never noticed the wardrobes.
Yeah, no, it's very consistent. It's extremely consistent that they wear these things. Anyway, so those are the 3 movies we're watching today, or that we watched this week, and we're talking about tonight. We're not watching them right now. I don't have that kind of money. Hallmark won't let me just steal them away. Let's jump into the first one, shall we?
Yes.
You ready for this?
Finding Father Christmas.
Finding Father Christmas, the first of an actual factual trilogy. Yes, all 3 movies feature the same characters pretty much, with, you know, some new ones sprinkled in there for fun, and we'll talk about it as we go along, but this is the one that started it all. Can we just say?
Yes. So, coming into the first scene, I was actually pretty excited.
Really?
Because it started with high drama. We have this little girl in presumably like in a green room backstage, and she's listening to a production of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol.
Right, yeah.
A one-man show.
A one-woman show.
A one-woman show.
Of A Christmas Carol done, which, like, I'm not one to say that people can't do what they do, but, like, Ebenezer Scrooge is an old crotchety man, and she's just like, I'm just like a dressed up Victorian era woman, and I'm just saying the lines just normally.
She was more like a narrator like a third person narrator for the whole show.
Like, who sits down and watches that? Just like a one person production
I don't know.
of A Christmas Carol. You gotta have scared Scrooge, like, getting terrified by, like, the Ghost of Christmas Future and all that.
Apparently enough people, because this little girl knew all the lines. She was like saying them along with this woman.
She traveled the country, this woman apparently. And her daughter knew it well enough that she could just like say it by heart the whole time until
suddenly, in the middle of a line, she just stops. And then the little girl's like,
what?
Mom? And
Finding Father Christmas, title screen, jump to the future.
The mom died.
The mom
on
died
stage,
on
right
stage.
there. In some horrible, A Christmas Carol related accident, injury, heart attack?
Possibly.
Did we ever learn?
It never told us.
We never learned
Just
what the cause of death.
What I understand it to be is you cannot do A Christmas Carol by yourself, or your heart just cannot take it. It's not doable.
So
something we'll find out, by the way, later on as well.
That was exciting because like we start off with this really high drama moment.
Because does this look like someone dying on the stage of a one-man production of A Christmas Carol?
I think not at all. So yeah, that was the intro.
Yeah, no, it just says I have the note. Mom dies doing it. 20 years later.
Yes, just suddenly jump to the present, and we meet our main character, Miranda.
We
watched 3 movies. How did you get her
name? You know what?
Wrong?
I learned everybody's name except these two right here.
Kidding me?
I did never learned these
Miranda.
two. Melissa, got it.
No. But she's a realtor.
Yep.
And she's too busy for Christmas.
Too busy for Christmas. Career woman. Got a lot on her shoulders. Got to do a lot of things.
Absolutely fits the Hallmark character stereotype that we see a lot is the working woman too busy for Christmas. Everyone treats this lady as if she hates Christmas.
Which there's a scene at the very beginning. She's in a realty office. She's very busy. She has her own secretary.
Yep.
And the secretary's going through and she's like, well, you have yourself the boss's holiday party. He's wondering if you never RSVP'd. Would you like to RSVP? She's like, I got a lot on my plate right now. I'm going to deal with that later. Oh, also, by the way, the orphanage was wondering if you were going to decorate this year. And she's like, I got a lot on my plate.
Also, what are you bringing to the office? Potluck, huh?
Yeah, it's like settle down. Stop badgering this woman. Because her secretary at the end of like saying 5 different things that she's like, I'll deal with it later. Is you just hate Christmas, don't you?
That's I guess the conclusion that we're supposed to come to.
Yep.
We find out she doesn't know who her father was.
Nope.
So she's kind of alone because she doesn't have her mom anymore. She doesn't know her dad.
Which, by the way, also a lot of the movies, someone will be kind of like iffy on Christmas and you don't know why very well. This movie, we know extremely well why, right?
Yeah.
Her mom died doing Christmas stuff when she was like at a very impressionable age, like 8 or 9 years old.
And also she doesn't have any family.
Yeah.
To spend time with.
So far as we know, she has none. Zilch not a family.
So she just spends her Christmases alone being sad?
Yeah.
That's awful.
Like, no duh she doesn't like Christmas, right?
So sad.
Yeah.
Anyway, the theater that her mother died at is now shutting down.
Yep.
And she gets a call from this dude at the theater who's like, I have some stuff that you might want. And so she's like, okay. She goes to the theater for the first time in 20 years.
Yeah.
So she's not been to this theater ever.
I want to say too with that, after the secretary talks, she like hangs out with her friend or something for a bit. They get drinks and she's like, yeah, I've never met my dad. My mom's dead at Christmas. And then literally the next day, the theater calls and is like, hey, remember your dead mom?
No one will let her forget, apparently.
No, never.
So this man at the theater gives her a chest of stuff. We don't know what.
Yeah, it's just like your mom would want you to have this kind of thing.
And so she's like, all right.
Mm-hmm.
She takes it home and then doesn't open it and then like goes to sleep.
Yeah.
And then she just cannot sleep. She's too curious, wants to know what's in the chest, waits until like the middle of the night to open it, which, okay, cool.
Which, she had conflicting feelings about it. She's like, do I want to literally open my past up, or do I want to leave it buried, kind of thing.
Do you even remember what was in the chest?
A bunch of nuttin' for most part. Some pictures, I do believe. Maybe the Tempest, I believe.
The playbill for the Tempest.
Yeah, for Shakespeare's Tempest.
Okay, and there was some. I don't even know what I'm trying to say.
A live squirrel. It
no.
just pops out. It
Attacked her.
Completely a lot of left field. She dies too. 20 years pass further on.
Now we're seeing her daughter. No. Okay. Let's back up. Reverse.
Sorry.
There's some the bottom of the chest is broken.
Sure.
And she can take out the inner box or whatever.
Okay.
And in the inside of the inside
the
of
lining.
the chest.
Yeah.
She sees a photo of a little boy on Santa's lap with the back. It says Carlton Heath Photography Studio.
Yeah, it's some photography studio, and she's perplexed because first off, who's this babe? Who's this boy?
Who's this boy?
Second off, who's the Santa?
Who's Santa?
And where was this picture taken?
And why was it hiding in the back of the lining of this suitcase?
This sneaky, very intentionally placed photos doing in my dead mom's crate.
So she makes this very logical decision, as in not logical at all, to look up the photo studio. It's from a place in Vermont.
Yeah.
She's in California, by the way.
Seattle.
Seattle
Specifically, yeah.
Seattle.
It's across the country, whole way.
She decides to go to this little town in Vermont.
Yeah.
With no notice for anyone.
Because that's where the photography studio was supposed to be, supposedly.
Right. Just to look around.
Yeah. Can I just say that it just occurred to me that she was like, oh, I don't have time for Christmas. I'm a very busy career woman. Then proceeds to take 2 weeks off from her job. Unplanned, undeclared.
Well, she wasn't
so
actually
she can travel
busy.
to Vermont.
It's not. She just said that.
I don't know. It's
she
not
was
like
all alone
she had
at
a lot
Christmas.
going on. I don't know.
So she's, going across the country.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's possible to buy airline tickets just off
on a moment's
no
notice to a small town in Vermont.
Right. And flies into Boston, goes to Vermont. Little town.
Right.
Guess what? They poop Christmas out of their butts.
They eat up all the Christmas in October, and then they just splat it on out for the rest of the year. My God.
They are swimming in Christmas.
I want to know what this town is like in March, because I imagine that they're just so upset that it's not Christmas.
So this is actually another Hallmark trope, is the small New England town.
Small town, lots
charming
of snow,
little village that they love Christmas, and you find the true meaning of Christmas there, I guess.
Entire export system is Christmas and mysteries. That's pretty much all they got.
Christmas and mysteries.
That's all they've got going on.
Yeah, so this is a perfect example of that trope. I'm sure we'll be seeing more of it in the future.
So much so that I was actually surprised we didn't see it in the first episode of this podcast. The first 3 movies we saw really didn't kick that. This whole trilogy is the epitome of exactly what you think a Hallmark movie is.
Yes. Well,
totally.
Especially the first one.
We
kind of go off the rails a little bit in the second one.
Yeah. It's still the same place though.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, so she's going to stay at this little bed and breakfast, classic New England.
Yep.
She talks to the owner of this inn, and she's like,
can I just say one more thing, because I just remembered it?
Yeah.
She in that box, she also finds a a bracelet
You're
with
right.
an angel little single on it, which is
right.
cute, fine, whatever. Maybe my mom left her some jewelry. She drives into town, and the sign on the town has the exact same angel emblem.
What? What?
Which is either like super adorable and that's where she's from and that's, kind of where like her heart is, or it's the start of a cult. Like there are two possibilities there that she is like, everyone must travel back for the holidays.
Yeah, so she drives right into it.
Yep.
So we're at the inn, and she's talking to the owner of the inn and is like, this is going to sound crazy, but I'm here just because I found a photo. Do you know where this place is? And, what is she?
So like, she comes in, I will say though, she's actually pretty like, she doesn't want to talk about it that much. She feels a little silly doing the whole thing.
She understands how silly it sounds.
Yeah. And so she talks to the inn owner. She's like, I lived here all my life. I know exactly who's been here, who hasn't, and all that. So just show me, what do you need? What do you not? What do you want? And she's like, yeah, I got this photo. To pictures here. What do you got? She's like, well, it's out of business.
It's out of business.
Yeah, but I might know some of the people involved with it. Yada, yada, yada. Maybe we have a lead for you.
I'll ask my husband.
Yes.
And she's like, okay, that sucks, but okay.
Yeah.
She goes and yep, that place is out of business. There ain't no photography studio there no more.
Mm-hmm.
But not before we meet Perfect Man.
Perfect man.
Perfect Man.
The man.
Ian.
Sir, like genetically engineered in a test tube to appeal directly to the 30 to 50 female demographic in the United States of America.
And he is carrying firewood.
Yeah, he's chopping and he's
carrying
he's
the
carrying it in
firewood
the first one.
So that he can chop it later.
It's not chopped yet.
He loves chopping firewood. We will find out.
I kept a tally. It's a lot.
Oh my
he
gosh.
chops a lot of firewood during these films, folks.
He really is off-brand Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, it's pretty much there.
That is truth.
Complete with the stuff. Well, Gosling's kind of usually kind of clean-chinned, I feel like. He was Mr. Stubble the whole way. I can't remember. Here. How about this? We look up a picture of Ryan Gosling, and the very first one that shows up tells us whether or not, no, you're right. Nope. Totally stubbly man. Yeah, that's it. That's him. We found the failed clone of Ryan Gosling. He's on the Hallmark Channel, and he's found himself a new home.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
But yeah, she can't get service to go around town because random
small
village
town
in
USA ain't got Wi-Fi.
And so he's like, "I'll take you. I will.
I'll bring you to my office."
No. Well, first they just go around town.
Okay. Yeah.
She finds out, this is weird,
Mm-hmm.
that this small town is also doing a production of A Christmas Carol. In fact, they do it every single year.
Yep.
And Perfect Man Ian's dad is the actor in this production.
Who is old and looks like he's ready to have a heart attack at any moment. The entire time I'm sitting like, oh God. They're going to turn A Christmas Carol into a murder machine, aren't they? It's going to happen.
I don't know why that's the case, but I guess it's the case, and she's kind of weird about it. She doesn't talk about it, which begs the question, why?
Her response every time that, like, Christmas Carol comes up,
I don't want to talk about it.
Almost like she was given, like, an improv card to respond in that way. Like, I need to leave. I need to go.
And she doesn't explain.
No, she doesn't explain herself. She just gets really uncomfortable looking and then just walks away. Nobody wants to say, she doesn't ever want to say, like, I have bad memories of this particular production. I don't like theaters or something like that. Just, I need to go.
It did very much remind me of, like, Macbethian.
Yeah.
The cursed play.
Worse yet, she walks in. Which, by the way, Christmas Carol, if you've never seen, it's like a 2-hour production. It takes a while to get through that whole thing, right? Literally comes in the same like set of words that her mom died saying.
Oof.
It's like, come to know me better. And it's like, oh no.
Oh no.
It's happening again.
Yeah, because they're rehearsing it, aren't
yeah.
they? Yeah. Miranda obviously leaves upon hearing that.
Yep.
And Perfect Man Ian comes out to comfort her.
Yep.
I don't remember if she told him at this point. I don't think so.
No, definitely not.
I don't
she
think
doesn't
so.
tell anyone for a while.
We find out Perfect Man Ian got even more perfect because one, he lives and works for
the
inn,
B&B, yeah.
whom His parents are the owners.
Yep, he is a handyman, and he's Mr. Chopwood.
He chops wood.
Chops wood.
He also practices law.
Yeah, he's also a lawyer. He's an accountant. And I have also written here, he's also a sleigh man.
A sleigh man.
He controls and operates the sleigh that the inn also keeps, because why not?
But he particularly likes doing lawyering for adoptions.
He specifically mentions my favorite part about lawyering was talking about adoptions.
And that never came up again.
And he loves Christmas.
He loves Christmas.
So much so, he's like, well, you know, after I'm done chopping this wood, I'm going to go deliver cookies to the town free of charge, just because that's how much I love Christmas.
So, of course, Miranda joins him on this Christmas montage of delivering cookies to the locals of Carlton Heath.
Yep.
It's pretty cute. It's nice. There's a magical experience at the tree lighting, the annual tree lighting at Carlton Heath.
Which Perfect Man is also involved with, of course.
He is involved with because his dad is Santa.
Yep.
There's like 10 people there for this town event, but they, you know, it's a tree lighting.
Yep.
Miranda thinks it's the most magical thing she's ever seen.
Yep.
Great, cute, whatever.
I wrote no results for generic names. Was she Googling like just random names of people and nothing worked? Oh, it was like the couple who owned the photography shop, I think. She all the while she's still trying to kind of get into this mystery, right? She's trying to figure out why or who this mysterious Santa is and who the kid is in the picture and all that. And that keeps happening repeatedly here. I also have written in here, I wish I looked this up in advance. When they're handing out cookies, he walks into one of the stores in town, and you just hear this very generic woman scream.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
He's just like, I'll be right back. He walks in, you just hear, ah! It's like, wait, what? What?
What's happening?
Did he kill someone with Christmas cookies? And he walks out and he's smiling. He's like, we did something good today.
It was weird.
Yeah.
It was a weird choice. After the magical tree lighting, they go to some random person's house who's having a party.
The Whitcombs?
The Whitcombs, yeah.
The Whitcombs, right?
The Whitcombs are a family of whom James Whitcomb owned, or no, did he own it?
The theater in town that was doing the Christmas Carol was named after James Whitcomb.
Yeah.
It is the Whitcomb Theater, and the family of the late James Whitcomb is just, and I wrote down here, the Christmas family.
They are the Christmas family.
It's just screaming Christmas out of their house all times.
They have a party. I guess everyone in town is invited.
Yep, all the time.
Sure. Miranda sees framed in this house the same exact photo that she found in that suitcase.
The one of Santa and the boy, like they were just carbon copies. Straight up.
Exactly the same. And guess what she does?
Nothing!
She doesn't do anything. Like, instead of like asking, hey, do you know who's in this photo? She does nothing.
Hold on, I think Missy may have found it.
Show me no more.
Oh no, that's definitely
that's the whole movie.
That's the whole movie right there. One second, because I wanted to find this generic scream because it is a generic scream. You guys have heard this before. And
Merry Christmas, Ruth.
that was the scream right there. It's like, is that the appropriate I got cookies for Christmas scream?
Merry Christmas, Ruth.
Ah! Sorry, but yeah, no, she finds this picture and it's so uncanny. It's like, oh my God, you need to tell somebody. She's just like,
huh?
I gotta go.
Yeah, she leaves.
Yeah.
Instead of, investigating like any sane, normal person would do. Okay. Next day.
Yep.
We find out that the owner of the inn.
Yep.
Andrew.
Yes.
And his wife, who she talked to earlier.
Right.
Andrew's pharmacist violates HIPAA.
and finds out that like the people who own the photography shop still got a prescription filled relatively recently.
Yeah, so the, the pharmacist provides their new address in Arizona.
Yep.
Which, if you know anything about healthcare, privacy is extraordinarily illegal.
Extraordinarily legal. But man, small town, gonna small town, ain't it?
Yep.
Yep.
She finds out. I don't even know if that was even consequential, honestly. Getting the address of the photo studio people.
It never really panned out, but it felt like a lead at the time.
It did.
But it really was distracting from the fact that they found the same picture in the Whitcomb house that she had in her mom's suitcase.
Yeah, I know.
It was like, okay, cool. You know, we're following up that lead. How about the picture thing, huh?
Nope. Well, I guess not. We do find out more about the Whitcombs, though. We find out that James Whitcomb,
yes,
this person who has since passed away, was also Scrooge in the Christmas Carol.
For years. For actual years in that theater. They even, in the second movie, I think at that point, the second movie is 30 years that they've been doing a Christmas Carol at that theater.
Yep.
And we just assume that Jacob died, or James Whitcomb died also doing a Christmas Carol at this point. Nobody, they don't say anything else about how his death.
That's the only way anyone dies.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you go out when you're 80s by doing a one-man production of a Christmas Carol.
The Grim Reaper is like, it's time, and hands you the script.
You're like, I don't want to read it.
Read
it. You boy, what day is it? It's Christmas Day, son! Anyway.
James was married for 40 years.
Yep.
That's what we learned about him.
That's all we learned. But here's at this point. So it should also be mentioned that Perfect Man Ian.
Yes.
Throughout this movie has just been popping in at random times. Here, why don't you go on a sleigh ride with me? Here, how about we go deliver cookies to orphans? Here, why don't we go to a tree lighting ceremony and then sing carols and then dance in like next to the tree? Here, I'm Perfect Man. Let's see here. What else? Oh, he also gives her a coat at one point.
Oh, yeah, he does. He just buys her a coat. He just
buys her a coat. It's like, here, you're not used to Vermont winters. You're just from Seattle.
Which Seattle is cold.
Pretty sure Seattle gets snow and stuff.
Isn't it?
Pretty certain.
Anyone from Seattle?
Yeah.
Any Seattlers in chat?
So they've been building up a rapport with each other. It is 40, let's see here. I wrote it down. 41 minutes in? Let's see here. Jacob Whitcomb.
So halfway.
Got dropped. Minute 46, sorry, that she finally tells him why she's here, because at this point she's just like, just check it out, small town Vermont. Finally tells her, and tells him, and he's like, oh, well, I mean, we could try to figure that out, I guess, right?
At this point, though, she has a hypothesis.
Yep.
She thinks that James Whitcomb, this man who died, was her father.
Yes.
I don't remember her. She doesn't really have any sort of proof other than that photo that was in the house.
When did she get the poem? The poem in Margaret Whitcomb's house.
Oh, I don't know.
I think it was maybe around that time.
Oh, you think so?
That she starts getting in there, because she's like, you know what? I realize, or she like picks up the Tempest bill,
yeah.
And she's like, oh, my name is Miranda. I'm named after the character in The Tempest. And then also there's this poem in the Whitcomb's house about something other, beguiling Eve, which was
Eve was the name of her mother.
It was the name of her mother, and she's like, that's a weird line to be in this poem. Oh no.
Oh, and yeah, and in The Tempest, it was a 2-person show between her mom, and James Whitcomb.
James Whitcomb was also there. At which point it was like, oh no, this is really lining up, ain't it? That's not probably good.
Oh, and yeah. The son of James Whitcomb was like, that's my dad. Mm-hmm. That's me and my dad in the photo.
Yep.
So at that point, we're like, yeah, that's James Whitcomb.
Gotta be it. It's him,
as
100%.
Santa. He is Father Christmas.
Yep, we found Father Christmas. He's dead. Father Christmas is dead. Ian is not a Whitcomb. They hang out a lot. I think it's just they're
friends.
They're just friends. They're family friends. Yeah, like whatever, I guess.
Yeah.
They just hang out. It's a small town, small town, small town, small town, small town,
Small town.
small town. It's that you can explain a lot of the plot holes away from this by small town.
Yep. So at this point, Miranda's convinced.
Yes.
James Whitcomb was her dad.
Yep.
She can't tell anyone.
No, because she's real nervous about it. Because if anybody finds out, things are gonna get real weird for a minute, aren't they? Especially since she like became best friends with the entire Whitcomb family.
Yes, but James Whitcomb was married for 40 years.
Yes.
And so presumably cheated on Margaret, who is his wife.
Yeah, with Eve probably in the dressing room of the Tempests, because that's where it seems to all line up.
Yep. It was a wild cast party.
What a wild cast party. Other things I want to mention as we go along here. They go on a sleigh ride.
Yes.
They stop at a beautiful mountain peak, but for some reason the camera keeps deciding they're like, oh my god, look how beautiful this is, and then place the camera, prop it right on the horse's ass.
Horse
Just
butt.
straight horse butt. Going straight
Every
from the
time.
horse's butt up towards the mountain. The mountain's very pretty, but a third of the camera's taken up by a horse butt.
Very
And
distracting.
it's like, why? Why is this happening? Oh, also, Andrew dies. What? No,
Huh?
he doesn't die. Andrew's like, what's he doing? He's caroling?
No.
What?
I don't remember.
I'm right. Andrew's the owner of the
Who is
inn, right?
Andrew? We didn't really explain who Andrew was. I don't think we even gave him a name. Andrew is the owner of the inn.
Yes.
The dude
Yes.
in this couple that owns the inn.
Who's also doing the lead of the Christmas Carol.
Ian's dad.
Yes, Ian's father. That's really all you need to know about him. He's Ian's
Yeah.
dad. That's really a big one.
Yeah, he's the lead in the Christmas Carol.
Yes.
Gets unwell.
Yeah.
In fact-
he like passes out.
Passes out. Had a heart attack.
Yeah.
And so at this point we're like, it's cursed.
The Christmas Carol
Christmas Carol is so
a
cursed.
cursed thing. No one should do it. Ebenezer Scrooge is a blight upon this house.
We're wondering, like, is Miranda gonna step in because she knew all the lines? But that would be extremely traumatizing.
Yeah, new
What's
Hallmark.
going to happen?
New Hallmark doctor's like, he can't do a show right now. You crazy? He's
Yeah.
gonna have a bad time. Yeah, and they're like, is Miranda gonna do it? Who steps in?
Perfect man.
Perfect
Ian.
man. Ian's like, I've seen my dad do this enough times. I can probably figure this out.
At this point, it is the day before Christmas Eve, which is when this
Yes.
performance will go on.
Yep.
So, whatever. The show will go on. Ian steps in to do the entire show.
Mm-hmm.
He has to learn all of his lines.
Yep.
Miranda is going to help him. So they spend some time together working on.
Getting
The
real
lines.
close and kind of hot and steamy in a extremely Christian Hallmark way.
Hot
which
and
is,
steaming, not
like
really.
sitting close to one another, sometimes getting
Ew.
some hot chocolate, like talking to each other and awkward pauses kind of thing.
Right. They kind of like they're kind of romantically involved.
They
at
are
this point.
they are kissing, they are smooching.
He is like, please spend Christmas with us.
And she's like, I don't know, Christmas is rough for me, boy. And there several times throughout the movie she threatens to leave.
She's
like,
prepared to leave.
I need to go. I need to leave. I
She's
need go
prepared to
back.
leave
I
on
need to
Christmas
leave.
Day.
I need to head out. I need to leave.
I actually wrote down this specific scene where
Yeah.
he's like, spend Christmas with me. And then they kiss.
Yeah.
And you're like, the implication being like she agrees. But
Mhm.
then she immediately says, no, I'm actually still leaving.
Yeah. And it's true. He also gives her the bracelet charm thing. Like everybody gets a little bracelet charm. He explains like the angel of like the town. It's like this is who we give. This is what we give to people who are near and dear to us, so we remember them on this Christmas time. And
Yeah, and this point, we know that
it's pretty
Eve got
much,
it from James.
Yep.
She gets it from Ian.
Yep.
It's a cult thing.
It's a cult thing. You don't understand.
understand.
Small town.
Small town.
Anyway,
The romance kind of comes out of nowhere.
it's okay. Comes out of nowhere. She like looks him up and down as he's chopping wood outside of his inn.
I guess that's all you need, right?
It's less of a relationship and more just lust.
You just need to look like Ryan Gosling.
Good Christian Hallmark lust
Yeah.
is what it is for the good chunk of it.
At this point, he is begging her to stay.
Yes.
Despite knowing nothing about her, really.
Specifically, it says, yes, I wanted to kiss you as soon as I saw you, which
Creepy.
if you're not in a relationship already yet, That is some wild stuff to say to somebody,
Yeah,
huh?
you didn't even know if she was in a relationship.
No, not at all. Anyway, in all other case, Christmas Day. Is it Christmas Day?
It is Christmas
Christmas
Day.
Day.
They
They're
have to
having-
play. Guess what? I mean, it's fine.
She does fine. It's cool. It's whatever.
Ian does great
And they celebrate by having like lunch. It's still light out, I guess.
on Christmas Day.
On Christmas Day,
We're at the Whitcombs.
the Whitcomb's house. And you know who we haven't talked about yet?
Margaret
Whitcomb.
Whitcomb.
Absolutely. Who?
Margaret Whitcomb
Yes.
is Beatrice Horseman from BoJack Horseman. If you've watched that show,
She is the pregnant wife in Emperor's New Groove. She's a lot of it is a very, very recognizable voice.
it's
as
so
soon as you hear
distinctive.
it.
Yeah, you hear it and you're like,
Oh my God.
I know that voice.
I know who that is.
And if you've watched BoJack Horseman, you're like,
She's evil.
yeah. It does feel evil.
She's got this kind of like evil stepmom kind of
I
vibe about her
know.
throughout the entire movie, and she's not played that way. It just kind of is her vibe.
It
and
just
that's
feels
the
that way.
problem. Yeah,
But we're at her house.
Yep.
And we're having lunch. And she goes off the rails. She starts interrogating Miranda about her father.
she's starting to think that, you know what? I think you're here for a particular reason, huh?
Yeah.
You figured out my deep dark secret, huh? Huh?
We're like at the edge of our seats.
Yeah, we are
This is
freaking
high
out.
drama.
We're like, oh no, things are bad.
And suddenly Miranda's like, yep, my father was James Whitcomb. Woo!
And I was gonna say Beatrice. Margaret
Beatrice Horseman.
is like, you want money, don't you? That's what you want. You're just trying to here to besmirch this wonderful man's name. And no, that's actually Peter. Peter freaks out.
Peter is the
The
son of
son.
Margaret and James.
Yeah, the late James and the present evil stepmom Margaret.
Yeah, you just want money. Get out of here.
I'm calling my lawyers.
I'm calling my lawyers. And we're like, oh my God.
And then Margaret's like, hold on. You know what? Fine. I'll admit it. You caught me. My husband was a scamp.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
Hey!
But we justify it by learning that they were in the middle of divorce proceedings.
Yeah.
They were basically finalizing their divorce
Mhm.
at the time that James and Eve connected.
Connected.
Wink. And he only came back because his son Peter got ill.
Yep.
And then they saved their marriage.
Save the marriage somehow. And that's, I think, the Hallmark's closest way of saying, we're not condoning cheating, just that they were going to get divorced and then they didn't.
It still feels weird, but Margaret knew about it. She knew about Eve.
Didn't want to tell anybody.
And she had her suspicions because Miranda was checking out that poem.
Yep.
And she looked like James.
Yep.
Etc. Etc. They have Christmas together.
Yep.
Peter says, I'm sorry for threatening you with legal action.
And they just kind of settle in.
And that's just kind of it.
Everything's okay. They just have Christmas scenes for the rest of the movie, and then
Yeah. Miranda and Ian are they're like totally
they're kissing.
together.
They're kissing a lot.
No
totally.
conflict in there.
Yeah.
And we see the horse butt one
Yep.
more time.
One more time, just to make sure.
and then it's
just
the
real
credits.
quick.
Credits on the peak of the mountain.
And there it is, Finding Father Christmas.
Yeah.
We took an hour on one movie, which I would normally
Honestly,
be concerned about
That's okay.
because the other two are going to go a lot faster.
They are
They're gonna go
because
so much
one,
faster.
well, we know why. One,
Yeah.
two, it's all the same characters.
Yes. Yeah.
So we don't have to introduce a bunch of characters, which I was excited about
Yeah.
going into this episode.
But let's before we move on, we have to first talk about two things, right? How Christmassy was it? How close to the North Pole was this movie?
Yeah.
And was it a good movie? Right, those two things.
Sure.
So first off, how close to how close to the North Pole was this?
I think it was a lot closer than any of the other movies that we saw last week.
I'm thinking like Greenland. Like we are getting pretty darn close.
Oh, I was going to say Carlton Heath, Vermont.
I'm thinking closer than that, honestly. They did pretty good because like this movie, it would be very hard to separate Christmas from.
It
Right.
would be because everything kind of revolved around Christmas.
Like, unlike the other movies where like, oh no, we forgot we need to have Christmas stuff in this in order to be a Christmas movie. This is like, you are not gonna like be able to blink. And or like at any given moment, you could look away, look back. There's gonna be Christmas on that screen to remind you this is a Christmas movie.
And it was also just,
God
like
dang it.
integral to the plot too.
Yes, that is also true. I would say though, they could have taken out Father Christmas and swapped him in for something else, and it could still be like mysterious picture. Is this my father? I don't know.
It didn't have to be called Finding Father Christmas.
No,
Father Christmas was pretty inconsequential.
I appreciated like at least that completed an arc.
Yeah.
Like that is why she came to that small town in Vermont. She was trying to find Father Christmas.
But
cool,
she found
great.
Ian and her new family.
Ooh.
Ooh.
And so they have a wonderful time together.
And the true meaning of Christmas.
Yep. Good movie. I'll admit I didn't know I didn't know how the plot was going to turn out. Like I had some thoughts. I just didn't know how people were going to react. I had Margaret was an enigma for me. I don't know what was going on there. But it's okay.
It's okay.
Christmas movie, pretty good.
Yeah.
Like not one of the best, not one of the like top 5, top 10 even, but it's pretty all right.
The main actors do a fine job as far as their acting goes. Side characters not great.
Margaret is mesmerizing.
I love her.
Yeah. Oh yeah, speaking of side characters, these 2 kids keep showing up in all 3 movies.
Yeah.
And they keep getting one keeps getting taller and one stays the same height.
Margaret's grandchildren.
Yeah, and I swear the boy gets worse at acting in every movie.
He does get worse.
I don't know if he's just phoning it in. He really doesn't want to be there anymore because he got like dragged in to do it like in 2016 and then didn't want to keep doing
cool
these.
For it.
Yeah, it kind of feels like that. Totally.
But that's the only way that we knew that they actually filmed these separately from each other was because this kid kept getting like 2 inches taller in every movie.
You could tell he was like going from like 13 to 14 to like 15 years old.
Incredible.
And he was just become a big boy. All right. So that was Finding Father Christmas. Now we're jumping into my favorite of the trilogy, by bar none. Bar none. I kept telling Marissa how happy I was about this movie and how much I enjoyed it.
This was a surprise.
This one was an utter surprise.
There was some passion.
Engaging Father Christmas. My imagining was, all right, guys, listen up. Finding Father Christmas did pretty good. We need to make a sequel. We're going to give you double the budget, and we're going to give you actual writers this time. Let's go!
Do it! Woo!
And so, Engaging Father Christmas rolls on into the station.
Yep. Confusingly, though, it starts with, like, this previously on montage.
It, like, literally clips from the first movie to tell you what happened in that first movie.
But that's not how movie sequels work.
No.
Like, you learn the exposition through... the script.
Like someone like talks to the main character and they're like, oh, well, I got married last year, but then they died. And then, no, it was just literally clips from the previous movie, like previously on Father Christmas.
So, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Mm-hmm.
We find out we're back with Miranda.
Yep.
In Seattle.
Yep.
At her same company.
She's still working there. Ian's nowhere to be seen for the most part, but she likes Christmas now a bit more. She's better about Christmas.
She doesn't just like Christmas.
It's true.
She is a Christmas expert.
She is a Christmas convert. Like,
yes.
Like she has been baptized in the Christmas water.
She has everything under control now, unlike last year.
A priest dipped her head in a thing of eggnog and mistletoe, and she is raring to go.
She loves Christmas
so much.
She is packing to go and see Ian and everyone else for Christmas at Carlton Heath.
Yep.
Woo!
Yep.
Because she loves that place now.
And also Ian. She's like very excited to see Ian again. It's been a month, I think. Like
we were not sure if it's been literally an entire year since they've seen each other or if they've actually been like, meeting.
But they do mention that, like, we've been meeting here and there, but I'm very excited.
Yeah, Josh visits her in Seattle.
Yep.
Or Josh.
Not Josh.
Ian
we'll talk about Josh
visits her in Seattle.
Meanwhile, there's a scene of, and I just want to throw this in because that's how they exposit that they're like just saw each other relatively recently. Ian is chopping firewood again. And
he's always chopping firewood.
And his mom's like, "Hey, Ian, how's everything going?" He's like, "Here, I chopped enough firewood for you that should last you until I come back from the airport." As if like the hearth in the inn is the only thing keeping the town warm enough from the oncoming solar creep of like the heat death of the universe.
Yeah, and the Boston airport is apparently like a fortnight away.
Farewell, dear mother. I shall see you on when the new moon arrives. Like, she's like, "We'll be fine. Just go."
Yeah, just leave. Get your girlfriend.
Sorry. It just every time he comes on chopping wood, I'm like, "Hey, there he goes.
Perfect man Ian.
Perfect man, Ian."
Miranda flies into Boston,
Yep.
like last time,
Mhm.
and is surprised when she's encountered at the airport by
Special X Josh.
Josh. Josh is her ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
So, ooh, high drama. We're bringing an
Who's,
ex-boyfriend.
by the way, got some like really let's see here, some really like young discount William Dafoe vibes about him. Like that the face he's got is just it's you can
Yeah.
feel like there's just this underlying anger, and you don't know why you don't want to like him, but he's
He
got
could play a serial killer if he wanted to.
he's got a facade of like there's a madman behind this face, but also he's a psychiatrist. So what could possibly go wrong?
So this is how we get the exposition. I don't even know why we had that clip show before.
Yeah.
But Miranda basically tells him everything
Tells
about
the entire plot of the first movie,
yeah, including apparently this big secret that James Whitcomb is her father.
Yeah.
And she says, "You can't tell anyone because it's this big secret. I've never told a single person." And he goes, "James Whitcomb,
The actor?
the actor, the world famous actor?"
And they kind of, this is like the first big retcon from the first movie.
Yeah, we both look at each other like, wait.
We kind of got
What?
this vibe that James Whitcomb and Eve as well were just kind of like local like
Yeah.
like theater people who would just like
community
travel from like town to
actors.
town doing little shows. But all of a sudden now he's world famous actor like philanthropist James Whitcomb.
Yeah, he is a big deal now.
Big boy, big deal. Former, God rest his soul, James Whitcomb.
Yeah.
And
And
yeah,
she's like, "Shut up. Like,
don't you dare.
I just told you. No one can know about this."
It's like, I'm sorry. You know what? That's cool. I will not tell a soul. Thank you for feeling like you could tell me. That's really kind of you. I'm just going to go hang out with my friends. Yeah, all of a sudden, boom. And she's like, "What?" And there's this guy
There's this dude.
who's I guess bumped into her suitcase
Yeah, tripped over the
three
suitcase.
quarters of the way into the seating area of like cafe tables.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. It's so crowded in here."
It's so crowded in here. I'm sorry. And you're
Okay,
like,
whatever.
"All right,
He
this-
goes away.
This is kind of weird and just disappears.
Bizarre.
Yeah. And so he, as Josh leaves though, by the way, because I think it was 2 years ago that they broke up, they said.
Yes.
He gives her a kiss. He's like, "Yeah, mwah."
Right on the cheek.
And he's like, "Okay, bye." Immediately Ian walks in at that exact same moment because
Yeah.
of course he does. And
He's
he's
like, "You kissing strangers now?"
"Hey,
And we're like, "Uh-oh. Is this going to be a conflict?"
the answer?
No.
No."
He brushes it off. He's
Nah,
like,
he's-
this is a joke.
And this is why I love this movie. You know why? Because none of the conflicts are rooted in people being dumb.
Yes.
They're instead rooted in like genuinely kind of scary, like uncomfortable things, and not like people didn't communicate right and now everything's bad.
And you know what? They do communicate about it.
They communicate a
She
lot.
tells him everything. Like, "Yep, that's
Yes.
that's an ex-boyfriend. Ancient history. You don't have to worry about him."
I just ran into the airport and we're just like, "Huh, funny small world. Let's just talk for a minute." That kind of thing.
And everything's cool.
Yeah, everything's good. I'm a Josh defender.
Okay.
Okay, just as a heads up to everybody, because Josh is made out to be a villain throughout this movie, and I will not allow Josh to be besmirched in such a manner.
We find out that Ian
Yep.
is getting ready to propose
Yep.
on Christmas to Miranda.
He has a very special ring in a Hallmark bridal branded box.
And
that
they
he
will
shows-
not let us forget it.
They show it to the camera
Hallmark
about 2 or
bridal.
3 times.
Hallmark bridal.
He'll be like, "I'm in the same room as her. Better secretly look at my Hallmark bridal ring to make sure
Yep,
it's still here."
there.
Camera. Okay, anyway, so how you doing, Miranda?
There's like a cottage that Ian, Perfect Man Ian, is fixing up because
Yeah.
he's also
a carpenter.
a
because
carpenter
Perfect man.
and he paints a painter.
Which also, by the way, very obviously, like, he's making it so they can, like, move into small town Vermont and live together and be happy. But he's like, yeah, Margaret just happened to have this cottage and I'm just fixing it up for her before she sells it. It's like, all right.
And he gets ready to
Okay.
propose right there in the cottage.
Brings her into said cottage that he's just working on.
Checks the ring. Hallmark bridal.
Yeah, he's like, this is real pretty cottage, huh? Not completely irrelevant. Just, we're here. Hey, by the way, literally gets on a knee.
Gets down on one
knee.
And then, boom! Hey! Like,
The young Whitcombs arrive.
the young Whitcombs arrive. The little kids, the boy is an inch taller.
Yep.
The girl's still there.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely just
Barges in.
blue-balled.
And the best part is that, like, he got down on one knee, which we can agree, like, unless he was having a heart attack or he was trying to protest something, like, the only reason you get up on one knee next to somebody is to tie their shoes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. He's gonna propose. And, like, she even said, this is probably gonna be the year that he's gonna propose. You know, this is Christmas. He loves Christmas. And then, but afterwards, like, the kids come in and he's like, he stands back up off of being one knee. And she's like, what was that? What are you doing?
Oh, nothing.
He's like, oh, nothing. And she just forgets about it like it's no big deal.
Yeah,
it's like,
whatever.
There's no way you didn't know. No way.
So that was weird.
Yeah.
When does our boy come back?
I wrote new house prop blocked.
Prop blocked.
So then the very next scene, guess who's in the inn? The old not Whitcomb inn. The old Carlton Heath inn.
Guess who followed her all the way to small town Vermont?
It's
Josh!
Yeah, Josh.
Okay, that's really creepy though.
That's the big mistake Josh makes. And admittedly, okay, can I just say, her budding relationship had not been mentioned in their little catch up, right?
Yeah.
Not even once.
No.
She just went to charming small town Vermont, gushed how beautiful and cute it was, and that, like, she found out that she has new family there.
Yep.
So he decides to skip his family or his, like, friend's ski trip,
Good
which, by the way,
Lord.
ski trips are expensive. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
And decides to come to this inn, and she's like, "What?
What in God's name are you doing here?
What are you doing here?" And he's like, "Oh, you said how beautiful this place was, and I just wanted to come and see you. You know."
By the way, are you seeing anyone?
Yeah. Are you seeing anybody? And she's like,
Yes.
"Yeah." And he's like, "Oh."
Is it serious? Yes. Very.
Okay. And again, why I like this movie, you know what he does? He apologizes. He's like, "This is really awkward. I'm very sorry. I'm going to leave."
Everyone's watching.
Everyone's watching. He's like, "Who's this new man that she's talking to? This unfamiliar stranger man, huh? What's going on?" And so they walk out together. Just like, I'm gonna leave. I'm sorry. I just want to say something to you first before we go. They get outside, and he's like, "Hey, just so you know, like, now that you know who your father is, like, my brother's a lawyer. If you need to, like, figure out any legal stuff about that, like inheritance and stuff like that." She's like, "How dare you?" You think I'm doing this out of some financial gain?
For the
something?
money?
He's like,
No.
I just my brother Brian. You know Brian, right? Get out. It's like, okay.
Okay, so Josh leaves the movie.
Yeah.
Bye, Josh.
Bye, Josh.
It was
He's
really
just gone.
uncomfortable that you followed her all the way to Vermont, but at
Yep.
least he left.
Yep.
Ian saw all of that.
Yep.
Of
Ian's like,
course.
"God, hey, remember that guy you said was ancient history, and now
What's he
he's here
doing?
in this small town for no reason except talking to you and maybe kissing you again? No, getting a hug.
Yeah, he got a hug.
A compensation hug at the end."
She's like, "Yeah, I'm sorry. I did not see that coming." And then Ian is like, "Yeah, I saw it coming. I totally saw that coming."
And you know how Ian responds to it all? Perfectly fine.
Perfectly cool.
Takes it on in stride. He's like, "You know what? I feel confident enough in myself as a man. I'm perfect, man. I don't have to worry about this, Josh."
And honestly, that's a relief.
It is. Again, why I like this movie. Nobody's upset. Everybody's okay.
Like, we don't need some arbitrary conflict between Ian and Josh.
Yeah.
We just get some nice, healthy, good communication between Miranda and Ian.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
So something we didn't mention though, and this is really important. I don't know why it's not in my notes. Somewhere before the Josh incident, she gets a text message. She receives a text message featuring a picture of her former father, James Whitcomb, decorating a house.
What?
A new picture we've never seen before, in
She
fact.
goes, who is this?
She's like, oh, this is super
I love
cute.
this.
Who is this?
Who are you?
And they respond with, and it's an unknown number, Ghost of Christmas Past. And it's like, oh! And so the whole play is like, someone knows that James Whitcomb is her father.
Uh-oh.
And it's like, that's not good. And so when Josh comes to the screen, she's like, you told people, didn't you? Or like, this is you, isn't it? You texted me this picture. And it's like, no, I haven't told anybody, I promise. You tell Brian? No, I haven't even mentioned anything. I just want to tell you about that Brian can help if you need it. You know, it's fine. It's cool. And so again, Josh just made out to be the villain here this whole time.
He is.
But,
Poor Josh.
Poor Josh.
But we're still not sure who this Ghost of Christmas Past is. Miranda's very nervous because she doesn't want to jeopardize her relationship with her new family, especially Margaret. Because Margaret is so, like, thankful and makes sure that Miranda knows that she appreciates that she never told anyone.
She's being so discreet. And the piercing gaze that Margaret is able to provide to anybody.
You don't want to disappoint Margaret.
You don't want to disappoint Margaret. It's just, it feels very wrong. It feels like you're going to die if you disappoint Margaret.
Yeah.
Yeah. We disappoint Margaret a lot, though.
We do.
Still,
this is really the trilogy of disappointing Margaret.
Disappointing Margaret.
She got cheated on.
Yeah.
And now we are, like, letting out the legacy of James Whitcomb.
World famous James Whitcomb.
World famous now.
Who, like, again, like the local community theater, and it was named after James Whitcomb, but also like international actor sensation. Because everybody knows about James Whitcomb.
Yep. So next scene, Ian decides we're going to do this again. We're going to try again. Sets up another magical sleigh ride, just like in the last movie. And takes her to this, like, beautiful Christmas decorated gazebo.
Yep.
And finally, successfully proposes.
It's very romantic, very adorable. And you know what? Conflict free. I feel like
conflict.
Lesser movies would interrupt with like a new mysterious picture, and she'd be so stressed out that like she wouldn't be able to focus on it.
Yeah, we thought we were gonna get a call from Ghost of Christmas Past. Nope, not in this scene.
She gets like he gets prop blocked again or anything like that. No. She says, I do before he even has a chance to propose.
He was like, can I ask first?
Just to ensure that it's going to be okay.
Yeah, it was sweet.
It was sweet. It was adorable. His parents helped out because they're like...
Yeah, they did like the lights and stuff.
They got the lights going. They like prepared the sleigh and everything.
So it's like, what, 30 minutes in and we've already engaged Father Christmas.
Which, by the way, you might be wondering because like you, I was also thinking this. Hold on, she's not engaging Father Christmas. Father Christmas was James Whitcomb. How could that be? Well, worry not, very detail-oriented Hallmark moviegoers. Ian becomes the new Santa Claus for the town after his father is still recovering from the heart attack from last year.
Wow.
So it's fine. Now she's engaged to Father Christmas.
And we get that same Christmas tree lighting scene from the last movie.
Complete with Santa and Mrs. Claus counting down 10 seconds. They with a giant like red and white striped lever that they pull for some reason.
It's really the same thing.
It is the same thing. They could have used the same scenes and we would have noticed probably.
The only reason that we knew that it was different is because of the kid that was 2 inches taller.
It's true. He was just a little bit taller at that point.
So yay, they're engaged.
And they're doing Christmas stuff. They're being adorable.
New text.
Small town. New text suddenly with new picture.
Uh-oh.
And it's
a picture of her.
In the airport.
And we see Josh in the background.
Which they first use, it feels very much like in that moment that Josh is going to be implicated in this because he's in the background of the picture. Except, Earth to world.
How can it be Josh if he's in the photo?
Picture? But you know what?
They acknowledge it.
They acknowledge it almost immediately.
Yeah. Miranda's like, how can it be Josh if he's in the photo?
Ian's like, all right, well, you think it might be this Josh fella? I mean, you told him. You weren't supposed to tell anybody.
We were
told Josh.
so relieved.
And they're like, oh, hey, hold on. Josh is in the picture.
It has
he
to be
can't
someone
be
else.
it.
It must be someone
And I was
else.
like, movie, thank you.
Yay!
Thank you, movie. Thank you so much for being smart about things. So Josh is cleared. 100%.
Yeah.
I'm so happy.
Josh is innocent.
Yep.
Not guilty.
Nope.
There is a reporter in town named Natalie.
Yep.
Who is doing a story on James Whitcomb.
And of course, nobody else knows about like this like new scare of leaks. So Miranda, anytime she gets to hear this reporter, just kind of freezes up and kind of freaks out.
I don't want to talk to
She's like, yeah, I just really want to know everything you know about James Whitcomb.
Natalie
You seem to
keeps
hang around the
asking her
family a lot,
questions.
huh? And you're like, I'm just a friend of the family. I don't know what he was in.
And there's a scene where it's just the two of them.
Yeah.
Getting coffee, I guess, because Natalie wanted to talk to her.
Right.
And she was asking about James Whitcomb and how they knew each other and stuff like that. And Miranda's like, do you hear those church bells?
Because she actually asked a pretty incriminating question. She's like, you said you're a friend of the family, but I heard that you would only
just
appeared
met
here last
year.
year. So what's that going on? She's like,
church bells?
do you hear the church bells?
Something.
They're so lovely this time of year.
James Whitcomb loved Christmas.
He loved Christmas.
He loves his family and he loved Christmas. And that's it.
He loves his God, his Christmas, and his family in
That's
that
the
order.
3 things you need, I guess.
That's the 3 things you need. She's like, all right, fine. You win this day, Miranda.
So yeah, Natalie backs off, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It was a 200 IQ play. It was a little more clever than we made it out to be.
Yeah.
But it was still kind of silly. The church bells?
Church bells?
Next, we get the same scene from last time because the Christmas Carol is going on again.
Yes, and so Ian's playing father.
Ian's
Ebenezer
doing
Scrooge
it again.
He's rolling the whole thing. They do a montage of various scenes from the show in the wrong order though.
This was the weird choice, is that they did the Christmas Carol, or the scenes that they showed were backwards to the plot of a Christmas Carol.
They montaged backwards, and I was so weirded out by it. It's like we were theorizing that, you know what? This must be a new take on the Christmas Carol, where a delightful old man becomes a terrible miser by the end who hates Christmas. Like,
it's a very different story when you do it backwards.
He's visited by 3 spirits and then his old business partner, and they all tell him how terrible Christmas is, and he becomes a terrible person as a result.
It was such a weird thing that they did it backwards.
We're like, all right, cool, but that's a lovely time. And
that's how they beat the curse of everyone dying.
So everything seems okay. They figured it out. Nothing too bad, but there's still that ghost of Christmas past hanging around.
Yep.
And true to point, all of a sudden, the intruder, the same man who was in the airport, arrives in Carlton Heath.
The guy that tripped over the suitcase.
Because apparently everybody can just figure out where this small town in Vermont is.
Yeah, why is everyone just showing up here?
I don't know. But yeah, he goes there and he stays at the inn because I guess there's like the only one inn. No hotels here. No Best Western. No Holiday Inn Express. No, sir. It's just the local inn. And he is smarmy. He is charming in a very terrifying way.
Miranda confronts him.
Almost immediately.
Yeah, she
figures
knows.
out who he is, right?
She knows that he is the one sending her pictures and threatening her.
Like he like closes the door, go outside, and she's waiting on the other side of the door, and she's like, Mr. Carlton, or whatever his name was.
Decker.
Mr. Decker, I presume.
Steve Decker is his name.
Steve Decker.
So they for some reason go somewhere way more private, which don't go somewhere private with
threatening
a
man.
stranger.
Don't find yourself an isolated place in a small town there for that.
Steve Decker basically says, "Yep, I know everything. Because your friend at the airport was really loud.
Yep.
I'm gonna write this story because he's a reporter too, apparently.
Yep.
I'm gonna write this story one way or another. And
you're an illegitimate child of James Whitcomb, and Whitcomb was a hussy.
If you want to have any say in how this story goes, then you better call me. I'm leaving on Christmas.
Yep.
Here's my number.
Mm-hmm.
And so, oh no.
Oh no.
This is the main conflict.
This is pretty problematic.
Miranda's very worried again about the legacy and about disappointing Margaret because no one wants to disappoint Margaret.
No. And she, at this point, we reveal this to Margaret, right?
No, Miranda says, I can't stay. I have to leave.
I have to leave.
She says, I'm going to just leave.
That is a classic Miranda move.
Classic.
Huh? Yeah.
That I'm just going to run away.
Yep.
And then Margaret is like, you can't run away.
No, you got it. You got to take this on.
Girl, are you kidding me?
We're going down on this together. We're in a tank together on this, girl.
Margaret texts Miranda like the morning that she's about to leave to meet her at the cottage.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason in Miranda's phone, Margaret's contact name is Margaret.
Yep,
in
written all caps, which makes even more of a threatening aura coming from disappointing Margaret.
Very threatening.
Yeah.
Margaret has a bold, smart play.
Yeah.
Because at first she was like, yep, we're going to call our lawyers. We're going to be smart about this. We're going to see what we can do.
But real quick on that, she comes into the cottage that Ian's been working on.
Sure.
And Margaret's standing in the center of this empty living room with a single Christmas tree on polished wood floor, facing away from the door. They're the only ones in there, and it's like, this is it. This is where Margaret loses it.
This is where Miranda's gonna die.
If Miranda gets killed, then there is no illegitimate child, is there, huh?
The secret dies in Carlton Heath.
Yep.
But that's not what happens.
No.
Of course, because this is a Hallmark Christmas movie.
Unfortunately.
Margaret says, we're going to break the story ourselves.
Yep.
With Natalie, the reporter that we like.
We are going to scoop this in advance so that he can't get there in time.
Yeah, which is a great idea.
Extremely intelligent. Again,
and they get to control the narrative.
Yep.
Margaret gets to be true to James's legacy because she was like, oh, I thought that he wouldn't want this, but that was just me. We're going to break this story.
But true to the story, because there's a very big MacGuffin that keeps showing up in this movie. Inside the cottage, there is a bit of the wall that's been sealed up by wallpaper that Margaret comes in at one scene and pulls a little corner off, sees an E, and then slaps it back down because nobody gets to see that but Margaret. Mm-hmm. And then later on, they're like, hey, what's this E doing here? And they rip off the rest of it, and it is...
May truth and grace reside here.
May truth and grace reside here. And that becomes like the moment of like, oh, well, you know what? He does like truth, don't he? Except when he cheated on me, he especially likes truth,
That
don't
was like the symbolism for the secret.
Yep.
Right? We're covering up the secret, then they were ripping it off, and then
literally...
Then Margaret agrees, yeah, we were going to...
Literally covered up the truth.
Let everyone know. And so they do.
Yeah.
With Natalie.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Decker, his plot is foiled.
He gets scooped. He's like hanging out on his laptop. He closes it in angst. He's like, oh, man.
Everyone in the whole damn country sees this article somehow.
Yeah. They're like, oh, man.
Big
James Whitcomb's
scoop.
got a kid? Oh, dang. A dead actor from like 10 years ago? Oh, man.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
We have Christmas Day once again.
And everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
Everybody's happy.
Except Julia, the grandchild. Miranda got her some ice skates.
Yes.
But if you look at the ice skates, they're actually enormous.
They are an adult-sized
They're
set of
far
skates
too
for
large
like
for this little girl.
And it's not a good idea.
Very distracting.
Yeah.
But that's it. They end the movie at the cottage.
Yep.
Margaret gifts them the cottage.
She's like, this cottage has been in my family it was the first house we had. It was a great place to start our marriage. And I want you to have it. I'm like,
yeah, that's sweet.
That's nice.
That's nice.
That's nice.
And then the last thing is that they suggest that they get married there.
Which is a terrible idea. It's an adorable cottage.
Don't do
but
that.
it is small. It is it's outdated. And they're also like, let's have it on Christmas at this cottage. And it's like, no, don't.
Credits roll.
Credits roll.
That's the end of the movie.
That's the end of the movie. Best movie of the trilogy.
This was by far your favorite one.
By far my favorite movie. I would say in terms of is this how close to Christmas is this? Still pretty darn Christmassy. The main conflict, not Christmassy. You could have done it. You could have done any time of the year.
It was a different conflict.
Yes.
The whole thing with James Whitcomb, like the secret with the reporters and the legacy, that was all interesting.
Yeah.
I appreciated that the characters acted rationally.
They acted rationally.
Except for Miranda, but Miranda's never rational.
Yeah, she kind of can't be. She has to be kind of this flitty, like flighty,
but everyone was
wishy-washy character.
Everyone was very reasonable otherwise. Yeah. Good movie.
Honestly, like I said, I think if it weren't, and you know what? Actually, I'm gonna say this is probably one of my top 10 favorite Christmas movies. If I'm being honest at this point.
Oh my God.
Like 10.
That's
number 10. Not definitely not
good.
high up.
Yeah, Jamie, we already talked about the first one.
Yeah. But it was just because everybody was smart about stuff.
Yeah.
Seriously. Everybody was really intelligent about things.
It was nice.
Nobody got too mad about things, and everything turned out okay. Also, Margaret is over 60, and
she's a grandma.
She's a grandma for sure. Yeah. Yeah. They're all good people, and everything's fine. Everything's good.
It's nice.
So
Good movie.
Let's move on to the worst one of the bunch.
Here we go.
And
on to Marrying Father Christmas.
Marrying Father Christmas. It's this is the problem with this movie, though, is that you felt like, so the other one, everybody was feeling pretty hot about Finding Father Christmas. They're like, all right, we got a full head of steam on us. There's that kind of unresolved trauma of like, we got to keep this a family secret. If we dance up James Whitcomb a little bit more, that gets a little bit fancier. Cool. And Hallmark gave him some extra money. Everything was cool. Year later, Hallmark's like, you know what? Engaging Father Christmas did even better than Finding Father Christmas. You know what? We just got to throw you another check. You got to make another one. They're like, but we resolved all the conflict. All that's left is the wedding, but like, we can't make a whole movie about that. Yes, they can.
And they did.
And Marrying Father Christmas was the result.
Usually for these movies, I have like about a page of notes.
Yeah.
This one, I don't even have 2/3 of a page.
I did not actually. Usually I have to like I have to create two columns. I didn't even finish. I got 2/3 the way down for the first column this time.
Yeah.
Because there just isn't a lot in this movie.
No.
It really
There's
isn't.
not.
No.
At first we thought it'd be a clip show. At least it's not a clip show.
It's not a clip show, but it hits a lot of this. It hits all the same like
barely
little pipes.
a movie,
a lot
though.
of montages of Christmassy things. Probably the most Christmassy of all three movies, I would say. Because there's nothing else. There's no other conflict or anything like that.
We start with the red papyrus title screen again, which is the same for every single movie for some reason. It's not good design.
I don't know why.
The backgrounds are always far too dark to see.
Yep.
Miranda is in Boston now. She's got a new job.
Yep.
She's not just the Christmas expert. She is the Christmas goddess.
Her job now is interior decorating for offices, specifically during the Christmas time, doing Christmas decorations for said offices.
Christmas goddess.
Christmas goddess.
Some random dude shows up at her office and is like, "Hey, are you doing any interior decorating?" And she says, "No, I'm leaving. I'm getting married."
And they hang on this boy for this old man for a while.
Yeah, they do.
He's kind of, I would not say attractive. He's plump. He's in his like 60s, 70s, low 60s. And he's like, "Yeah, I would really like some interior decorating." She's like, "Oh no, sorry, I gotta go." And
sorry, I'm not taking new clients.
She's holding on to like a dream journal that says "My Wedding" written on the front of it. And it's like, "Oh, you're getting married." And she's like,
"Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. On Christmas Day."
On Christmas Day, yeah. And he's like, "Oh yeah, all right, cool, great."
We follow her now back to Carlton Heath.
Yep.
Where
guess who what Perfect Man is doing?
Guess what he's doing? Chopping more firewood.
Chopping firewood while attempting to write his vows. And maybe that's one of the highest bits of conflict in the movie.
That tells you a lot. That's the highest conflict.
Tells you a lot is that this fella just cannot come up with vows for his wedding.
He can't think of his vows, and so he just angrily chops firewood.
He rage chops and writes vows at the same time. That's what he does. It's his whole business.
We have a new actress for the wife of Margaret's son.
We can barely even talk about her because we haven't even talked about her once because she was so irrelevant.
No one cares about her though.
Like. She's just there. She's just there to be a family person.
Whatever. Yeah. Margaret is very excited for this wedding.
Yes. So she has stepped into the role of like, wedding mom,
basically.
And she is going to figure this all out. She's going to make this happen, right?
She wants to invite all of her friends,
Yep.
all of James's friends.
Yep.
She wants to get a bigger venue than the cottage.
I wrote Margaret rage inviting people. She's like, I'm
She
just gonna
wants to
invite this
invite
person, this
everyone.
person, this person. Oh, but we don't have enough space in the cottage. So why don't we just move everything to a bigger place? Like I don't know.
My house.
My family's house, which is, I'm gonna say, a nice house, but just marginally larger than the cottage.
It's not much bigger.
It's not a wedding venue by any means. I didn't get that.
They are definitely playing Margaret off as a villain in this. I mean, not villain.
Not a villain,
but
just an extremely overeager, controlling type.
yeah, the source of conflict here. But also, like, I don't really have a problem with her wanting to invite people that she knows.
I wrote down, I want Margaret as my wedding planner because it seems like although she's a little controlling and she decides things that maybe not necessarily the wedding party wants, she has the details down. She's got that all figured out. And I was like, great, fantastic.
She's got everything
Margaret,
under control.
get in there. Yeah.
But, she's played off as controlling.
And Miranda's, instead of speaking up for herself, which is why this is the inferior movie of the three, she just kind of clams up and is like, cool, great.
Yeah, she doesn't say anything.
Changing the venue 3 days before.
We get mad at Miranda in this one.
Yeah.
We're pulling up to the theater that has the Christmas Carol every year.
Yep.
And guess who we see out there? It's Peter, the son of Margaret.
Yep.
And the man that was in her business earlier.
Mysterious man who was asking for decorations like 3 days before Christmas.
Oh, what?
It was like,
why is everyone following Miranda to this little town?
how do they keep finding this town?
And Miranda is obviously also very, what's the word, paranoid after last movie, obviously.
Yeah,
Makes a lot of sense, because a bunch of people just come into her life and want to ruin everything.
I imagine like she's like, she has the social media handle for her like business or interior decorating business, but she leaves the location settings on. And so she's like, having a great time here. Picture taken at such and such in Carlton, Vermont.
Yes.
It's like, oh, huh.
So this dude's talking to Peter. He leaves. Miranda's like,
This is
who was
weird.
that guy? Who are that guy that you're talking to?
I got a wedding coming up and like this is happening. This weird thing's happening all over again. Why does this keep happening to me?
And Peter's like, oh, that guy was just asking if he wanted to make a donation.
Yeah, if he could make a
To the
donation to
theater.
the theater. And he was like, oh, that's really great. He wants to be anonymous. It's like, oh,
Oh,
all right.
that's fine.
That's pretty nice, I guess. Whatever.
I keep saying Margaret. I mean Miranda. Why is everyone's
Lot of M
name
names.
start with M?
Yeah.
Miranda tracks down this man at the inn because no one else stays anywhere else. And is like, what do you want with me? Why are you following me?
She's upset. She's like, I'm gonna let no random stranger come in and ruin this idyllic family wedding.
And we kind of feel bad for this man because like he hasn't really done anything wrong.
In fact, he gives off extremely non-threatening vibes the whole way, right?
He does.
He's just like, yeah, he reveals it right then and there,
He
right?
reveals it. He says that he is her uncle.
Yeah.
The brother of her mother who has passed away.
Yep.
Who she never knew about.
So technically he's the brother-in-law of the late James Whitcomb now.
So she's very suspicious.
She's extremely suspicious, but at the same time, he's like, I knew that, I was just a new stranger, so I'm not looking to get like invited to your wedding or anything like that. I get that. That's weird. Understand.
He's just like, I'm leaving. I just wanted to give you a gift in the form of a donation to the theater.
I thought you wouldn't accept a gift from me, so I'm just going to give it to the theater and I'll leave. I'm literally I'm going to pack up. I'm just staying a day.
And she goes,
go.
You need to leave.
He's like,
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do.
And guess what he does? He leaves.
He leaves. And she's like,
wait a minute. He left.
And then she talks to Ian and he's like, yeah, it's pretty weird. I bet you he's trying to get something out of you. And she's like, yeah, but he
left.
But he left.
He left when I told him to.
It's like,
huh.
But still, that could be bad. It's like, but how? Everybody knows that this is a thing, and then like whatever. Why would you make up this?
One of Miranda's and I meant Margaret this time. Darn it!
Ooh.
One of Margaret's old actor friends, Tommy, shows up.
Tommy, 70-something-year-old Tommy,
and they just kind of hit it off.
They really, you can tell Margaret's
Margaret and
getting a
Tommy.
little hot and bothered, yeah.
So that's a thing.
Yep.
That's another thread.
I'm glad Margaret gets some. You know,
Yeah.
she spends the whole trilogy being kind of sad about her husband getting into some mischief, and now she gets some.
You can tell there's nothing really going on in this movie though, because like then we have a 5-minute scene of just Miranda and Ian practicing their first dance
and doing Christmas things too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they dance a little bit. Ian meets her on the street in his Dodge Ram 1500 with a solid heck of Hemi.
And they show off this Dodge Ram so much.
So they can go deliver cookies around town again, just over and over again.
They do their Christmas cookie thingy.
Yep.
They do the tree lighting again.
The tree lighting ceremony. They ride in a sleigh.
They do the Christmas Carol
They do
again.
The Christmas Carol again. Complete. Not in reverse this time, unfortunately. I thought maybe they're doing something avant-garde in the second movie, but no.
We get the same scenes as before, but this kid is a little taller.
Yeah, and again, like none of them are wrong. Nothing's bad about this, right? It's just it's all very same, all very generic, just exactly what you'd I guess want in a very unthreatening, like cozy Christmas movie where Christmas things happen and the cute couple is cute.
Yes. So the supposed uncle sends Miranda an envelope full of photos of her mother.
Yeah.
And at this point, she's like, "Wait a minute.
There's no way that she can have these photos.
Maybe
otherwise.
he was telling the truth."
Oh man.
She calls or she Googles him. There's this whole thing about like, what's his real name? Is it Is it Charlie? Is it
We can't figure it out. It's impossible.
I don't remember. Then Charlie was the middle name. Blah blah. Search SEO.
Yeah.
She couldn't find him on Google.
Kept searching Google, and for some reason, Google kept giving back
Google
image
photo
links. Yeah, Google photo links of various people by the name that she knew, but nothing.
Anywho, she finally does find him.
Yep. I will say, by the way, though, throughout all this, Ian is this very big anti-uncle man. Like he's like, there's no way. Your mom would have told you. There's no way.
He just doesn't want her to get hurt.
I get it, but like, what could he possibly want from her?
That's true. He did not ask for anything.
He asked for nothing. He gave everything, and he left when she requested. And he's like, well, I don't still trust that man. He might be up to no good. And it's like
Miranda calls anyway. She finds a phone number of a church.
Yep.
At which apparently this uncle man, what we should name him?
What was his last
Charles
name?
Finley.
Finley. Yeah.
He is a pastor.
Yep.
At
Joseph
that point,
Charles Finley.
For some reason, we completely trust him.
Yep.
If he's a pastor, then he must be a good guy.
And I said this to Marissa, and she didn't necessarily agree with me on this. It felt almost like the writers of this movie cynically indicated that right towards the audience that they knew, I guess, would be like small town watchers in the middle of America in their 40s and 50s women who'd be like, oh, he's a pastor. That's how we know we can trust him, eh? Yeah.
I didn't feel like it was cynical. It felt genuine. Like
genuinely, like we need to make sure this is a trustworthy man. Let's make him a pastor.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. It felt like they were trying to, like, it tested well in focus groups kind of thing.
Right.
Of like, he's still kind of a creepy looking guy. Well, what if we made him a pastor?
Well, now he's a good guy.
Old man who asks a lot of personal questions, but he's a pastor.
He didn't even ask anything.
Oh, yeah, it's true. He
didn't ask any personal questions.
I remember that because he's like, I'm just telling you these things. Don't ask me. You just want to learn stuff from me, don't you?
He didn't even.
No.
So she leaves a message at the church.
Yep.
And for some reason, instead of calling her back, which she didn't leave a phone number.
Nope.
He just comes back to Carlton Heath from California.
Yep.
He just
I guess
flies right back and
must
looks
have,
for her.
Been in the airport and was like, oh, Delta, throw me back in. We gotta go back.
I don't know how people are getting these airline tickets with no notice.
On Christmas.
But it's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
She wants to invite him to the wedding because she believes him now.
Ian says no.
Well, Ian says, I don't know about that.
The conflict, by the way, between Margaret and Miranda comes down to a conversation where they're like, actually, no.
Yeah, we want to have the wedding at the cottage.
And then Margaret's like, oh, yeah, okay, that's fine.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for telling me. That's the end of that conflict.
That conflict resolves.
With like a light fart, just like, oh well.
Okay.
That felt a little uncomfortable, but we're fine now. Everything's good.
We find out that the uncle, she never knew about the uncle because the uncle was kind of a jerk.
Yeah, that was actually
Before.
like a bit of a moment. We find out the uncle because back in the day when her mom was getting a little bit involved in the Tempest there. You know what I'm saying?
He find out that James Whitcomb was married at the time. He didn't like that.
Yeah.
That was kind of the end of the relationship between the
uncle
him
and
Eve.
Miranda's mom. Yeah.
So, okay, that
and
makes sense.
Just stayed out of the family, and
that was it.
That's why you never heard about the brother.
He felt bad. He says he's sorry.
Yeah.
And Miranda forgives him. And
Yep.
she said everything's cool. Miranda has several Christmas trees.
Yes.
That upset me a lot.
Lots of Christmas trees.
She had
all
multiple
over the place.
Christmas trees in her cottage.
Just bleeding Christmas.
And at this point, there is no more conflict.
There's 20 minutes left in this movie, and there's nothing on the horizon other than a wedding. And it's like, okay, cool, great. It's fine.
So let's have a wedding.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's an important point too. She figured out more why James Whitcomb was in the first movie than her father, because the Tempest happened approximately 9 months before her birthday.
It's quite a tempest,
the date on
if you
the
know
bill,
what I'm saying.
It's like she got like made into existence the night after that thing. Like it happened on the floor of, God, I wish I remembered the Tempest better. Of the crashed ship that they were on this new island that they were all inhabiting.
Oh boy.
I should have looked up some Shakespeare. I'm sorry. I've read
It's
The
okay.
Tempest. I know The Tempest, but I don't remember it well enough. And it
It's
feels
alright.
bad. Anyway.
They have a wedding.
Yeah.
In the cottage, in her
In the
living room,
cottage.
basically.
It looks nice.
It's okay.
It's fine. Tommy's there. Margaret and
Yep,
Tommy
Tommy
are
is there.
getting that warm fuzziness on.
They kind of had a little bit of conflict thing where she wasn't ready to love again, but now she is.
And he was like, no, screw you. You are ready to love. And she's like,
Okay.
yeah, all right. That's fair.
Obviously they have it at the venue that she wants.
Yep.
Miranda asks Margaret to walk her down the aisle.
Yep.
That's sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Julia is the flower girl. She's nervous about being the flower girl, but she walks down the aisle, doesn't throw any flowers.
Yeah.
That was confusing.
She's the flower girl and she carries her little bucket of flowers and she just walks it all the way up to the
Maybe I just have a fundamental misunderstanding of what flower girls do, but I thought they threw the petals
like on the ground as they're walking up
As
the
they're
aisle.
walking,
Yeah, no, all right.
That didn't happen.
Nope.
The other grandkid, I don't even know his name.
The ring bearer.
The ring bearer, he does fine.
He does fine. He definitely doesn't want to be in this movie. You can just feel it. You can feel
He
every
doesn't.
ounce of it. Like he's like, you're marrying Miranda, so that's cool. He's like, that's very cool. He's like, I'm gonna go now, and he just walks away.
Ian finally wrote his vows.
Yep, he finally wrote his
So that
vows. They were
conflict's
cute,
over.
and that's it. They drive away on the sleigh as a
Yep.
just married sign. There's so little conflict and so little mystery by the end of the movie. 20 minutes left. They had the kids drawing on a piece of poster board, but they didn't show you what they were drawing, and it was like, oh man,
Mystery.
what mystery is this little fringe? At the very end, oh, it's the just married sign on the back of the carriage.
Okay,
It's like,
cool.
and they're like, hey, it's our sign. And it was like, yeah, you made it for this, didn't you? They couldn't find anything else to freak out before the end. It's just, yeah, I don't know.
It was a nothing movie.
I threw down my notes 20 minutes left because I was like,
There's nothing left. There was nothing there.
I wrote at the end, nothing of note happened for the remaining 20 minutes. They just, and okay, here's the problem, right?
Yeah.
For a Hallmark audience, that's exactly what they want, right?
A nothing movie.
They just want sweetness. They want sweet holiday times where the family is happy, everything goes well, and nothing bad happens, right? And they delivered upon that. It's not funny for a podcast.
No, it was so boring. We turned off the movie and we were like, well, that was boring.
Yeah.
I'm sleepy now. I want to take a nap.
And she did, which is why we're a little bit late tonight. But
Don't call me out.
It just didn't. There just wasn't a whole lot going on there, and it was like, all right, well, there it is.
Compared to the second movie, especially, that was a
Yeah,
high
because the
drama.
second movie was a roller coaster, man.
And the first movie where the mom dies in the first scene.
Yeah.
It just felt completely different.
Yeah. I don't know, man. So in terms of, first off, Christmas.
Yeah, Christmassy.
Very Christmas. Again, Greenland. You could not take Christmas out of this movie. Otherwise, this town becomes just, I don't know, just town, I guess. There's really not a whole lot else going on in that little town, huh?
They got married on Christmas.
Yeah. I guess, could you do the same movie in like, or the same 3 movies in like January?
No. I mean, Christmas was so fundamental.
Right? Which is different from the other 3 movies we did.
Yeah.
Like, these movies definitely felt like they had to be Christmas movies in order for this whole thing to work.
You can't just go around and deliver. Well, I mean, you could.
Yeah.
Just delivering cookies to random people.
I mean, I'd take them. I'd be like, thanks, man.
Christmas tree lighting, but just
Yeah.
a tree lighting.
It's just a tree lighting. It's just very nice lights.
A Christmas carol.
Just carols.
Just a carol. We just sing.
Just neighbors singing.
We just sing random songs.
Yeah, it's a choir.
Karaoke, actually. That's
Karaoke.
what that turns into.
Yep. Was it a good movie?
No.
No.
It was a bad
No,
movie.
No. No, you know what it is? It's the exact perfect movie to have on the background Christmas Day that no one's paying attention to.
Yeah.
Because you look back and it's like, oh, look at the sleigh
it's still
ride.
Christmassy.
Oh, look at the snow. Oh, look at the Christmas tree. Look at the garland.
Oh, the couple is
Oh,
cute.
they're getting married. But if you, it is not a movie to pay attention to for more than 10 minutes of time.
No.
It's not worth it.
It was boring.
We did it so you guys didn't have to, okay? There you go. All right, so there were 2 questions, or as with last podcast, because we're wrapping things up here, there were 2 main questions that we asked at the very end, right?
Yeah.
I believe the first one was, we already kind of answered it. Can you take Christmas out of these movies and they'd still be movies? And the answer is,
No.
I don't think so. You'd have to do a lot. You'd have
They
to
were
figure out a
definitely
decent
Christmassy.
They were pretty darn Christmassy. The story, like the story beats that held my attention were a Christmas, like non-Christmas, I'd say. In which case you could put those in a different movie, but it wouldn't be the same movie for sure.
Yeah.
And then what did we learn about the spirit of Christmas? What are the meaning of Christmas, Marissa? What did we learn?
Apparently, New England is just flooded with the Christmas spirit.
New England is the center of Christmas spirit, and if you don't live in New England, you might as well just go and die because there's just no Christmas left for you. Sorry.
Jeez, wow.
There's just no other Christmas
All right.
left for you. Go to New England if you want the Christmas. Otherwise, you can't have any.
If you see anyone chopping firewood, they're perfect man.
Yes, find him, date him, and marry him. Yes, absolutely. But also make sure that he is, and I quote,
A lawyer,
a lawyer, a handyman, an accountant,
and a carpenter,
a carpenter, a baker,
and a sleigh man,
a sleigh man, a Santa, and also a man who can apparate jackets out of thin air,
and
just in
an
case.
actor.
Yes, and
You
an
get that
actor,
too?
because it's true. He was also Ebenezer Scrooge, and also looks like a discount Ryan Gosling, and also has the scruff. Even on his wedding day, he had the scruff. I don't know, man.
He doesn't have to be a writer, though. He couldn't do his vows.
He could not do his vows, and for one moment, we finally had a weakness of Ian's because he was the Mr. Man with a plan the whole rest of the way. So it's fine.
What did you learn?
What did I learn? I learned that again. I don't think I've ever had a real Christmas before because I haven't done one in New England. Yeah, I think all the Christmases I've done up to this point, all 27 of them, have been heathenistic in like.
The only things that make a Christmas: 1, Christmas tree lighting.
Yes.
All 3 movies.
Yep.
2, A Christmas Carol.
Yes.
All 3 movies.
Yes.
3, A Sleigh Ride. All
Yes.
3 movies.
It's true.
Those
That's
are
all-
like the fundamental beats of Christmas.
if you need to have a Christmas, and I mean, come on, who doesn't right now? You need to have those things in your Christmas time, or else you're just not having a Christmas at this point.
Fail.
Also, garland.
Oh my gosh!
Garland must cover every sharp edge of every space in your entire existence.
So much
or
garland.
else it's not Christmas, all right?
Oh my gosh,
Good
where
Lord.
do they store all these Christmas decorations? It was obscene.
I was looking around my apartment, it's like, where can we even put like a set of lights? It's like, where can we store this the rest of
so
the year?
much garland.
To the point where I just assume they just leave the decorations up all year round. And it's just always Christmas, and they're in denial like the rest of the year. They're
kind
just
of
like,
uncomfortable.
oh, only 300 days till Christmas. Yeah.
That's what we learned.
Go watch the trilogy, guys. Please do. And let us know if you do. Tweet at us and all that.
Actually, only watch the first two. Don't watch the third one. It's boring.
Just watch the second one. The second one tells you what happened in the first one several times, so you don't have to worry about that. And yeah.
And then just watch the last 15 minutes of the third one. Because then you just get the wedding.
Yeah, just steal that
cute.
one. They can really. You know what, Marissa? I think we could do like, there's a lot of news about like the Zack Snyder cut of like the Superman versus Batman movie. I bet you we could do a Shadow and Marissa cut of the Father Christmas trilogy into 1 2-hour movie and make it good.
Yeah.
We could just
agree,
trim all the fat and make a fantastic movie where they have 3 Christmases throughout it all, and it jumps from year to year to year. The conflicts rise and they fall, and everything's fine.
We just have to make James a bigger deal at the beginning of the movie.
Yes, we need to fix it. We need to like digitally insert a picture where like he has an Oscar on his shelf or something like that. It's like, oh dang!
And then that makes sense.
Yeah.
Going into the second.
He has like a
act.
Tony or something like that, and you're like, oh, okay.
Oh, world famous actor. Okay. Yeah.
All right. So I think that'll do it for us here today. This hasn't even been longer. I thought it was going to be shorter, but we ended up.
I thought it was going to be shorter too.
Yeah.
Oops.
So we didn't have a chance to come up with the movies that we're going to be watching next week, but we do have a theme in mind, and that is royalty.
Ooh.
Next week is going to be royalty.
Princesses and crowns.
We're going to figure out the best 3 movies out of the bunch for that. But right now, we've got ourselves a delightful selection that we are going to be selecting from. Princess Switch, we've heard about quite a bit. Let's see here. Of our list of movies that we have thus far, we have ourselves A Princess for Christmas, A Royal Christmas, Crown for Christmas, A Royal Winter, Royal New Year's Eve. I'm going to get rid of that one. That's not Christmas.
That's not Christmas.
That's not Christmas. Christmas at the Palace. One Royal Holiday, A Majestic Christmas, A Christmas in Royal Fashion, A Prince for Christmas, and A Royal Christmas Ball.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
Actually, we're not going to do all of those. We're going to pick 3.
I almost wonder if we could do A Princess for Christmas,
A Prince for Christmas,
and a Princess Switch. we sandwich that in between the two. And we just have A Prince for Christmas, Princess Switch, A Princess for Christmas. And it suddenly sounds like this very mysterious, like, what happened to the prince, though?
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what's on the streaming service.
We'll see what's on the docket. We'll get back to you on that, guys. If you find yourself watching these movies and you have any comments about it, be sure to use the hashtag Triple H, which won't be confusing for wrestling fans at all. And just throw out all your best Christmas takes about Hallmark Original Movies. If there's a particular movie you want us to watch, be sure to hit us up as well. And we'll move on from there. But thank you guys once again. I'm Shadow.
I'm Marissa.
And we hope you enjoyed episode 2 of A Hallmark Holiday Havoc. We'll see you guys next week. And yeah, thanks you guys so much.